Okay folks, welcome to the FlyBy dungeon. That's what I'm going to call this place. Had a little mishap with my Typhoon, and the first bit of advice I could really say is no matter how good you think you are, if you're flying line of sight, you should always use the avoidance. I was actually flying in an area I'm very familiar with, line of sight, setting up some waypoints. I'm well aware of the electrical line being there, but unfortunately I caught a hold of it, tried to back out of it, got it hung, jerked it a little bit to get it out of the line itself, and came crashing down to the ground. Broke 3 arms. I'll have to replace. They're all on this side. The rest of them look like they're pretty much good to go. I did test the camera. The camera seems to be working, but I got some items on the bottom side might have a problem with that I might have to replace the housing. But first we're going to replace what is obvious. And you can buy the arms individually, or you buy them in sets. You buy them individually, then it'll just be the arm itself, and then you'll have to actually feed in the wires and the motors. Basically just 4 screws to put that in. But these screws here, you're probably going to have a little bit of difficulties getting it in, and this one you'll probably have to maybe fish in with a needle and wire to miss and get around the other wires and the nut itself. So I went ahead and just got motors too, to be on the safe side, just in case I did something to that, and hopefully I didn't do anything with the ESCs. The only other thing that you really have to do is replace the light on the bottom itself, which is obviously this cord here, and it looks like it's all plug and play type of thing. So I was told it was pretty modular. And then of course you got A's and B's, which indicates rotator or rotor spin. Sorry about that. So I won't bore you with all the tearing apart. But again, if you buy the arms itself, it comes with a little lock pin and stuff like that. The only thing it doesn't come with is your LEDs, but hopefully they were saved on the back. And of course, obviously not really sure what LED arm you broke, so I think that's why they don't send it with it. I'm going to obviously take the camera off, and then it just looks like there's about 8 to 10 screws on the bottom side. And I'm not sure that this snaps in. It's going to be pretty difficult. Doesn't look like you have to take the arms off. I think everything could get from the very top, but I will take the camera off just to be on the safe side, which is just a little snap on the bottom here. You fly it up, or you drop it and you break it like that. So maybe I'll be buying a new camera now. We'll see. So I'm going to stop the video and just move ahead, and I'll pick back up after I get the top off. That way I don't have to fast forward through all the boring stuff. And if I come across anything that is kind of basic, I'll make sure I mention it. So talk to you here shortly. Alright, so I'm back. So for the most part, I think it was 10 screws, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 screws. Probably about a 5 millimeter, 5.5 millimeter. Snaps in. Just be careful. A little power plug. Actually, as soon as you snap, it kind of just falls out to the side, and it just looks like there's going to be one disconnect. They get the lid off, and I guess that's to sure exactly. I guess it's the GPS. So we'll go ahead and get this out of there. One good rule of thumb too is, for some reason, if you never know what you're taking out or where it goes, you could always number them or use chalk. It's pretty tight in there, but definitely oh, that would be some dirt. That's the guts. So for the most part, just looks like there's a little bolt. Get off here, all the connections. There's a piece of tape. And I'm probably going to need a magnifying glass. My eyesight is not that good, so kind of looks like the wires just come up. It's a little nut and bolt right here. That'll be taken off. Wires feed up and underneath. Here's the 3 plugs right here, and then it looks like this is the wire connection to here. So again, just trying to figure out how they were fed in originally, feed them back in afterwards. Make sure that you go B with B and not B with A, or you're going to have a problem taking it back apart. So besides that, I will go ahead, and since this one's kind of already together or broken completely off, let's go ahead and pull these apart. Sorry, my hands are in the way, but I can't hold the camera in to the plug itself. So again, just kind of feed it in. That one came apart a lot easier. Kind of seems to be tucked right in and down in there. And just pull that little plug out. Actually, I apologize. That don't look like that's the plug. So go ahead and get this back in here. And jiggle this a little bit. Looks like it's this plug on this side. So again, just jiggle the wires, try to figure out where the wire's coming up through. It's all pretty tight. And take that plug out. So try to save this tape. Again, make sure if you gotta use something in there, always use something plastic, not metal. So that's a pretty tight fit. You look like you might need some tweezers here and there. Up there's the arm. Again, it has all my parts. I always save it, and of course you'll need that lens and that LED that's underneath there. So these are probably a little difficult to get out, but imagine they rotate left or right, you're just going to have to find something to get in there with. So, and then of course here's the bolt. And I'll be back with you shortly. After getting that bolt out and trying to get that new arm back in. Alright, so for the most part, just to prep this in, this piece here is very, very difficult to get out. I scratched it up a little bit, but you can see on the bottom of it, it has little lock indicators to tell you what way to turn it, and it definitely looked like it was clockwise, but the angle it's on, and as you can see, definitely is on a little bit of an angle. It was kind of difficult. I actually took a pair of pliers, scraped up a little bit, but I think I almost ripped one tag off. But once you get down, get that off, then we have the LEDs. Just pull the plug, and there's two little screws. They're Phillips 00 to get that off, and then obviously put it on your new arm. And then after that, again, just emphasize on, make sure you got an A with an A. Really, it's the motor itself. Also, the cap, the tops, they also look like they're Phillips. That quick release is going to have to be taken off and put on the new motors because they don't come with them. And that's about basically it. The screw that holds it on goes through here. And that was a little difficult, and that's a T8, like a star bit, and you have to be careful because there's actually a little washer that's actually in there too. It's right there, and you kind of have to pull the frame of the body apart to actually get to it, but you want to make sure you hold on to that washer when it comes out. I would try to just pull it out. Don't take the bolt all the way out in this side. It looks like it's just a fitting. So, and then the other thing I would do is just go ahead, and it does look like it has some Loctite on it. So I would go ahead and just put a small little dab on it, make sure that that doesn't vibrate loose while you're in flight. So I'll go ahead and switch out the LED, put it on the new arm, start feeding this up and through, plug it back in. That'll be one arm down, and then we'll go ahead and go from there. I'm just trying to make this short and sweet, but like I said, two little set screws, or Phillips screws. Go ahead and take those out, put it on the same arm, on the new arm, and then replug it back in, put the lens over it, go ahead and hook it back up. Alright, so just to finish up, and off the LED. Hopefully I won't miss this little, or misplace the little screw. Kind of always put the screw out a little bit. Try to find the hole. I'm going to just leave the cover off, and then I'm just going to go ahead and feed all this through and put the lens on there afterwards. So I'm going to actually try to go feed it all the wires through, leave this unhooked, so I can kind of get a good, I guess, freedom with the wire itself. Be back with you shortly. Alright, so I go ahead and fed this through. It was pretty hard for the LED wire to get, because you had to go under this arm, and unfortunately you had to take a pair of tweezers or something to try to get down in there. Then I was having difficulties feeding the 3 plugs through, and I just basically took a piece of Scotch tape and I kind of just put them all 3 together, lined them up like that, and they went right through. So, for the most part, really just take the tape off. The other thing I did is, once I got this LED wire up in there, I went ahead and just plugged it in so it didn't drop back down. So I was just go ahead and plug each one back in, blue to blue, black to black, red to red. Red to red. So now I'm just going to just push it back down inside the housing. And then once I tighten that screw back up, again, don't forget to put some Loctite on it, so don't vibrate. But obviously don't screw it so tight to where you can't get it to close, or you have a hard time. So if you buy it all individually, make sure that you buy these little clips separately, unless you buy the whole assembly arm. And I think with the whole assembly arm, you don't get the LED or the lens itself. So I got 2 more to do. Once I do that, I put her all back together, fire her up, and hopefully I didn't do any other damage except for that. And it just does look like I have to do something with the bottom of this, because it actually looks like maybe those pieces were supposed to be together, but it kind of broke same length. So I'm not really too sure about that, but it might just be on the safe side. Just go ahead and replace this housing or mounts, and go from there. Alright, so be back with you after I'm done the other arms. Alright, so just to give you a little bit more detail, I replaced 2 of the 3 arms. Replacing the last A arm. So frame itself is a little bit in its way, so got to kind of have to bend that down a little bit, get it started. And one of the things for each one of these bolts I can't got that pulled out, it's a little difficult to get out. This one's actually broken, so I've had that little lock washer on here actually kind of fling on me, but I was lucky enough to find it. So, again, here's the 3 plugs right there. Again, these 3 plugs, you literally just pull them apart. And then there's the LED that went into that plug right there. So for the most part, let's pull all this out. There's the broken arm, and really the only thing was just that part right there got broken, but so as far as the arms, getting the old arms off, getting this lens, this is the most difficult part probably of the whole process, except trying to get those little screws out. But does have counterclock or clockwise unlock, clockwise lock, but these are very difficult to get out. This one just kind of looks like, well, it's all jammed with dirt and stuff, but Might just go ahead and buy new ones just to be on the safe side. This was actually the easiest one I got out so far. I kind of already did it off camera, but I kind of just gave enough torque and kind of just twisted it clockwise. And as you can see, it was still kind of a little stuck in there, but you can see those little tabs, and they're just kind of difficult to get out. So that's it. Surely some of you guys could probably come up with a better way to do it, but it's actually my first time taking this thing apart. So, new arm, old arm. Take this LED off. Let's screw in, probably off camera on that one. Always handy to have a magnetic screwdriver, especially with these tiny little things. You can barely see. Anyway, so of course, for if you guys try this for the first time, obviously there's a little tab. You look at the female end of it, you'll be able to tell what side goes down. Just make sure the connections go all the way in. Sometimes they really don't feel like it, but so I already kind of unscrewed this, but gotta get the bolt completely out. You see the arm's still broken. This is where you kind of have to bend the body down. Not really sure where that piece went. I guess it went down in the body. So there we go. All right. So what I've been doing is kind of screw itself goes through this, so you really don't have to worry about catching the wires up. So it actually goes through a channel. So this one kind of goes, you'll see it kind of goes down off to the side. Some sides are a little bit better than others. Again, I do advise you to use plastic tweezers, but once I get it up in there, I just go ahead and plug her in. That way I don't have to worry about her falling back out. Stuck up out the way. And like I said earlier, when I kind of did it, just seems kind of better or easier. I just take all three of these, take some Scotch tape, where it's all flat. I can easily center up through that hole. I've been pulling it up pretty far, but you wind up pushing it back down too, but I don't really want to fight it too much. Trying to get this bolt back in. For the most part. Just line that back up. Tight. This is probably the hardest part too. Trying to get this in. Getting it all lined up. You almost feel it gets snug, and this moves pretty good. So again, the LED is already plugged up. Basically all I got to do is just take tape off. And then they're color coded. For the most part, just gotta push it back down in there. Just gotta be on the right angle. And you'll see where the factory bends are, kind of how it was before. So I'm just gonna bend it back over. Need to have electrical tape on it already. Push it all down. I just gotta go find some electric tape to put that back, because I kind of ruined that piece of tape. That. And we'll take this piece, flip back over. I'm not really sure if they coated the board or not, but so I'll take this back. So for the most part, that's it. Fairly easy. If you're only doing one arm, you'll probably get it done within the hour. So the next time you see this bad boy, she'll be ready to fly. Hopefully this will help you. And good luck with your repairs. Thanks. Alrighty, let's see if she'll work. Alright. All right. She's done. Now it's time to go fly her for real. Those were actually all the damaged parts that I could find. There's a few pieces I couldn't find, but and again, these are probably good murders, but parts of the arm's broken, or the arm's completely broken.